Blackbeard, Akainu, Shanks. Who will be the final boss of One Piece? Oda Sensei has treated us to some perfectly punchable villains throughout One Piece, but as we near the final saga, we can probably count the major enemies that Luffy will beat down on one hand. So today, we'll explore who we most want to see Luffy go toe-to-toe with, as we wonder, will we ever get a punch as satisfying as the one where he knocked the color right out of San Carlos? The two foes at the top of everyone's list are of course Akainu and Blackbeard. What makes them the perfect final opponents for Luffy is that both Blackbeard and Akainu are the perfect representatives of their factions in the One Piece world. Oh, also quickly, massive shout out to Blackbird and Skyberry, my 2 subscribers of the day. Thanks for hitting subscribe for new content and helping me raise my bounty. Let's start with Akainu, because he is the quintessential Marine. As the fleet admiral, he represents everything that this organization stands for, and he is the de facto leader, ignoring, as he sometimes does, the Gorosei. He is a believer in absolute justice. In Sakazuki's eyes, no crime should go unpunished. All pirates automatically are criminals, and he is the appointed judge, jury, and executioner, as much as Enies Lobby would like to have a say in that. Even if he fundamentally disagrees with the Gorosei or the Celestial Dragons, he will do everything in his power to uphold the order that the world government represents. According to him, a world must be founded on strict rules and authority. Without submitting to this ordered hierarchy, the world will descend into anarchy and chaos, a chaos that the world of piracy embodies for him. And to him, this doesn't extend only to pirates that inflict actual violence upon innocent people, like the Don Quixote pirates. Even the carefree adventuring that the Straw Hat crew engages in risks corroding the balance of society. And so this of course makes him the perfect counter to Luffy, who believes that everyone should be free to choose their own destinies and follow their dreams, to party, to eat to their fill, and to adventure. Akainu would of course stomp all these things out in service of making a more tightly structured world. Our first introduction to Akainu shows us just how far he's willing to go in the name of absolute justice. On the island of Ohara, he single-handedly killed a ship full of innocent citizens fleeing the Buster Call. None of the people there were even the librarians who held the secrets of the poneglyphs. In fact, these evacuees left Robin to die on the island so they could themselves escape. However, Akainu felt that even the smallest chance that someone leaving the island held the librarian's secrets posed too great a risk to the world government. And so, to the horror of even another admiral like Aokiji, he just destroyed the ship along with everyone on it. Blackbeard, on the other hand, is of course the perfect representative of the world of piracy. Like Luffy, he is one of the Yonko, the 4 emperors of the New World, and a prime candidate in the race to find the One Piece. If you were to ask a random person on the street to name one pirate, a real live one, chances are pretty high they'd say Blackbeard. Likely, they might not even know the name of any other real-life pirates. Honestly, they'd sooner come up with Captain Jack Sparrow before they actually got to Anne Bonny or Francis Drakes. Oda Sensei gave Marshall D. Teach the title of Blackbeard because he embodies the classic image of a pirate. At least, he represents a certain type of pirates. In the original Romance Dawn one-shots, before the serialization of One Piece as we know it, Oda Sensei actually defined 2 separate classification of pirates. Pirates that are looking for adventure on the high seas, like the Straw Hats, were termed peace main pirates, whereas pirates who pillage and plunder were called Morganeers by Oda. And so, while Oda Sensei didn't keep the terminology, we can still see echoes of this definition in the different approaches to piracy that different crews take. And the Blackbeard pirates are definitely in the Morganeer plundering type of camp. Now, you might think that we haven't really seen him do much in the way of classic pillaging and plundering, but the very first reference we get to Blackbeard in the series actually confirms this. Back on Drum Island, Dalton refers to Blackbeard ransacking the kingdom. In fact, it was the terrifying power of the Blackbeard pirates that caused Walpole to flee the country and take all the doctors with him, setting us up for Chopper's introduction. And let's just take another minute to once again praise the almighty Goda's foreshadowing, because we received whispers of Blackbeard long before Luffy and Blackbeard's chance encounter on Jaya. By now, making their home on Beehive Island, the Blackbeard pirates are creating their version of a pirate paradise. Lawless and chaotic, he allows his 10 titanic captains to run wild in a new world as they amass power by collecting more and more devil fruits. So, how are both of these characters the perfect final enemies for Luffy? Well, at their core, both of these antagonists are complete opposites to Luffy's core philosophy. Luffy believes in freedom above all else. Freedom to travel, to eat, to party, to adventure, and yeah, freedom to live. Akainu and the Marines restrict the freedom of people across the seas of One Piece. While they may protect the people from dangerous, violent pirates, they also enact exploitative taxes, restrict travel, and even run protection for the slave-holding celestial dragons. Blackbeard, on the other hand, instead of being opposed to Luffy, is more like the other side of the same coin. Just like Luffy, Teach believes in a kind of freedom, but it's a freedom that allows someone to use their power to infringe on the freedom of another. In other words, kind of a rule of the strongest if you want. So while Luffy uses his freedom to uplift others and grant them the same freedoms he has, Blackbeard uses his freedom towards his own personal gains and pushing others down. And it's not just that their philosophies are diametrically opposed that set Akainu and Blackbeard up as the perfect antagonists for Luffy, the stakes here are personal as well. These two characters are both directly responsible for Ace's death. Akainu very literally did kill Ace, and to add to Luffy's personal grudge against the Fleet Admiral, he killed Ace while Ace was trying to protect Luffy. However, the war at Marineford never would have occurred in the first place if it weren't for the actions of Blackbeard. He was the one who captured Ace and turned him over to the Marines in order to claim his status as a Shichibukai. This too partly falls onto Luffy's shoulders because Blackbeard was actually pursuing Luffy at the time that Ace confronted him. And so before the end of the series, I think we can all agree that we do need to see Luffy take his revenge on these powerful foes. Another figure that will probably see Luffy fight before the end of One Piece is the mysterious 𝙻𝚎𝚐𝚐𝚐𝚘. So far, really almost nothing is known about the secret true ruler of the world government, given that they've only appeared in a single chapter of the manga. There is still a lot that we have to learn about this shadowy figure, but given that they're the head of the world government, they appear to be very much final boss material. Yes, Luffy does have a personal grudge against Akainu, but 𝙻 is Akainu's boss's boss, and the real decision maker behind all the actions of the Marines. So if Luffy actually wants to bring freedom to the rest of the world, the only way he will be able to do that is to go through 𝙻. And we also know that 𝙻𝚐𝚐𝚐 has it out for Luffy as well. I mean, yes, we don't really know too much about 𝙻's true motivations, but whenever I rip up a picture of someone's face, it usually means I don't really like them. We also have a few wildcards though. These are figures that Luffy could possibly fight, but we really don't know yet at this point whether they're enemy or friends. A big one that people of course have been theorizing about, including me, is the possibility that Luffy will fight his childhood hero, Shanks. Based on Shanks' weird connection to the Gorosei, some fans have speculated that Shanks' motivation might be less than good. Perhaps he will actually turn out to be a true rival or even the main villain to Luffy for the throne of Pirate King. I actually just released a video about just this possibility because I truly believe that one way or another, Shanks and Luffy will clash at some point very soon in the story. Who knows, maybe they'll just have a good-spirited Davy Back fight leading to the 12th and final Straw Hat's Lucky Rule. Or it might be an all-out battle. Then of course we have absolutely wild predictions. As we know, Oda-sensei is famous for his ridiculous left turns and unpredictability. So who else could Luffy still have to fight? I mean, the sky's the limit really. Perhaps he'll have a rematch against one of the series' first villains and fellow Yonko, Buggy the Clown. After all, at the rate that Buggy is failing upwards at the moment, he might be a true rival for the position of Pirate King at this point. Maybe he'll also be forced forced into a conflict with a marine that he has close ties to, since he is, after all, still a pirate. We've built up a metric ton of hatred for Akainu, but wouldn't it be heartbreaking to see him have to go all out against Kobe or Smoker or even his grandfather Garp? After all, people have really been sleeping on Kobe, future admiral, the secret final villain that Oda has foreshadowed since chapter 2. His future power only makes sense given that he is a child of Big Mom, as evidenced by his pink hair. Okay, maybe I might have to lay off the coffee. I might be hitting those theories a little bit too hard, and I wasn't being quite serious. But the fight I'm probably looking forward to the most is, in fact, Shanks. And if you want to understand why this clash between Luffy and Shanks is inevitable, you should really not miss out on this video right here.